now that we have the full end-to-end payment flow processing in less than 26 lines of code, and in total, maybe 150 end-to-end, we've done a great job. We see payments show up in Stripe, and we have a solid foundation on which we can build the most complex of checkout flows, right? And so with that, one thing is missing. We don't see anything happening when we do any of this, right? All of this is contingent on us actually having utilization right here. And so by utilization, I mean utilizing this promise to trigger the UI to do things. Okay. Well, with that said, there's a couple of things that we need to do right now. First of all, we need to process the response of this. So you heard me, .then. And with the .then, we can get the result. And with the .catch, we can get the error. And now we could also go ahead and use an async await here with a try catch. That's completely fine as well. I'm choosing to do it this way in this case. And when we get the result, well, what are we going to do? Because we don't necessarily know what's going on. So first of all, let's add some loading state. Let's say is loading, and let's say set is loading. And let's set that to false. And then once you start your payment request, we're going to set is loading to true. And while it's loading, if it succeeds, we're going to set is loading to false. And if it errors, we're also going to set is loading to false. Okay, so in both those scenarios, we're caught up. If it errors, we'll have a const error that's going to catch the error potentially. But rather than do that, maybe we should do something else. Maybe we should have a more holistic approach to this. So first of all, okay, let's take our loading state and let's just complete that. So if we're loading, let's put it right here, is loading. Then we want to do something. If we are loading, we want to show a payment processing component. That payment processing component is going to come from, you guessed it, checkout styles. Now over here, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to export a component. So we're going to say export const payment processing. And that's going to be a styled activity indicator. An activity indicator is going to come from React Native paper. So we're going to put it right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to import that in our checkout screen. So in checkout screen, we're going to import payment processing. And so now we can utilize that. So let's go back to checkout styles. And what we need to do inside of checkout styles is we need to set certain attributes for this and styles. So we're going to do .attributes, and we're going to say that the size is going to be 128. And we're also going to say that the animating is true, and color should be colors.blue 300. Now, color is going to come from colors from React Native paper. And some of the styles that we need to give this are as follows. We need to say that this is going to have a position absolute. We're going to give it a top of 50%. We're going to say from the left that it's going to come in at 35%. And we're going to give it a Z index of 999. And so by doing this, now if we do Mo and Beanie, and we just hit pay, we're going to see this start to animate. And now our payment will start processing, but clearly it isn't ever going to false. So if we go to checkout screen, something is clearly going wrong in the .catch and the .then. So clearly we aren't hitting these scenarios like we should be, right? Something inside of here isn't happening. And so we're hitting this use case. So we also have to set an is loading false over here because we don't have a card ID. Otherwise, loading will continue to spin. So if we reload here and then we go into order special, And now we fill in Mo Beanie and we pay. We won't even see it flash because it won't happen. So if we do 42, 42, 42, 42, 42, and so forth, and then we hit pay, now we'll see it come up. And it'll process to true or it'll process to false once it hits one of these scenarios. Now, one other thing I want to do is, while this is loading, I want to disable these two functions, because there's nothing worse than having to handle a button state while something is happening. So we want to disable these buttons as quickly as we can. So we're going to disable them while it is loading. And the same is true for the payment button. We're going to disable it while it's loading. And so what will happen here is now if I press pay, both of them will turn off until the payment has returned, right? So they're basically turning themselves off while the payment is processed. Amazing. So with those states now, what else can we achieve? Well, maybe we should add some navigation for a success and an error case, because those would be quite useful for us in order to know what exactly happened after the payment processed. So let's look at how to do that.